spotlights, an indispensable tool when you're hitting the bush or your local shopping center. And so today I'm installing a set of driving lights provided by the sponsor of this video, Auxbeam, to my project Prado. And once those lights are installed, I'm going to be comparing them in a real-world test to the Nava EX2s I have on my 300 series. The first step to installing the driving lights is a bench test. This is where we hook everything up on a bench, or in this case a plank, and we test everything. This is important because some cars may use negative switching, or you might need an entirely separate high beam pickup to activate the driving lights, like we have installed in our 300 series. I've hooked up the main power into the wiring harness. Now, still using the original switch. If I pop that switch on, the driving light activates. That doesn't actually comply with the Australian design rules. The requirement is that driving lights must only be able to activate on the high beam. Fortunately, there's a workaround. So what we're going to do is patch in this new OEM style driving light switch so that the driving lights can only be activated when the car's high beams are on. Next, I like to work from the lights back to ensure that all my wiring is as neat as possible. In this case, I need to get 3 input signals for the lights: the high beams, indicators, and daytime running lights, which I'm hooking up to the park lights so that I can put them on or off. And finally, I install the dash switch. This is where I'll be using the high beam signal as the 12 volt input rather than a 12 volt supplied directly from the battery. This means that the driving lights can only activate when both the switch and the high beams are active. All right, so here we are. It's nighttime. And before you click on that next video, I'm going to be comparing these Auxbeam driving lights to the driving lights on my 300 series, the Nava EX2s, which cost twice as much. I have no idea how this test is going to go, but I'm going to be doing it on consecutive nights at the same time of night, using the same camera in the same position in both cars to try and get some consistent results. So let's get in the car and get this test going. So here we have a comparative shot of the baseline between the two cars. Same camera, same color temperature. And while it isn't really a fair contest, the plucky old Prado does a good job of lighting up the road with its 2 candles. So the first test is going to be the beam pattern. Instead of trying to read off a box, I'll just let you judge for yourself from these 2 shots. So the Auxbeam lights definitely have a tighter beam pattern, and I'd probably put that down to them being a smaller physical light. But in the distance stakes, that is how far the light is thrown, I'd call this a tie. Color temperature is our next test. That's basically how blue or yellow the light looks now. The Auxbeam light is throwing a pretty good white middle of the road beam, which is so the light's imitating daylight pretty well. And when I go back down to the low beams on the Prado, are actually very warm. It's actually a very warm light, so it's a lot more yellow than the high beams. But the high beams aren't so blue that I'm blinded, because that's what happens. So if your high beams are too blue, it actually momentarily blinds you as you flip over to your low beams. So really happy with that. So am I going to go out and change the lights on my 300 series? No, those lights were installed for a specific purpose, a specific approach to the installation, and to a very different budget to what I have for the Prado build. Before I get to the Prado, I just want to thank Auxbeam again for kindly supplying the lights for me to test, and you for watching this video. Every click and new subscriber helps the channel grow and helps me get these videos out to more people. So thank you again for watching. And if you would like to directly support the channel, there are some options in the description below. Now, would I recommend the Auxbeam lights? Definitely. I think their performance speaks for itself. Now, I will be testing the lights further when I take the Prado on some trips later in the year, but I'm confident they're going to be the perfect driving light to suit my needs. And if you've enjoyed this video, you can head on over to this link to check out our 300 series build, or you can check this video out. See you next time.